Hello friends, I hope you all are fine. In this video, we will discuss and understand difference between balanced and unbalanced forces. Two equal sized forces acting on the object in opposite direction is known as balanced forces. For example, here a person is standing on the floor. You can observe the forces on the person are balanced. Gravity pulls downward on the person. Then another force is the floor pushes upward on the person. Here two forces are acting in the opposite direction on the person. So this is a balanced force example. Two unequal sized forces acting on the object either in same or opposite direction is known as unbalanced forces. For example, the ball doesn't move until the boy provides an unbalanced force upon it. Students, always remember, unbalanced force cause a change in motion. It can also cause an object to move. It can also cause an object to start moving, stop moving, change direction or speed. While balanced force do not cause change in motion. They are equal in size and opposite in direction. Does not produce acceleration, does not cause any change in motion, makes change in the state of motion. Magnitude is always equal. Magnitude is not equal in unbalanced forces. Equal in strength, not equal in strength. It cannot change the direction of the body. It can change the direction of the body. Just now I have told you a person was standing and two forces were acting on him. It cannot change the direction of the body. While unbalanced force can change the direction of the body. In this example, we have observed that boy was applying the force. Just now we have observed that the ball doesn't move until the boy provides an unbalanced force upon it. So it can change the direction of the body. So the ball can change the direction. It can be anywhere. So unbalanced forces can change the direction, while balanced force cannot change the direction of the body. Forces result force is zero. I mean, in this the net force is zero. Now, why the resultant force or net force is zero in balanced forces? Why it is zero? Let's understand this with an example. Now let's say here is the box on the ground. The box is lying at rest on the ground. There is a gravitation forces which is trying to pull the box towards the center of the earth. And the ground is applying an equal force exactly in the opposite direction. This force is called normal force, or else you can also call it as force of reaction exerted by the ground. Now suppose we push it in this direction lightly. So there will be one more force, that is the force of our push. Since we have pushed it lightly, this heavy box will not move at all. And this is because of the another force which comes into play in the opposite direction, our push. And this force is called force of friction. So here we have seen that even though this body is at rest The box is at rest. There are four forces acting, which are acting on this body. First is force of gravity. Second is force of reaction exerted by the ground. Then third is force of or push. Fourth is force of reaction. Now let's say the force of gravity be 100 Newton, and since the force of reaction is equal and opposite to the force of gravity, its value will be equal to minus 100 Newton. Suppose the force of push that we apply onto this body taken to be 10 Newton, and since the force of friction is equal and opposite to the force of push, it must be equal to minus 100 Newton. So let's say these are the forces which are acting on this body with this magnitude. Now let us calculate total force that acts on this body due to all the four forces. Now let us calculate total force that acts on this body. And what we have to do is simply adding up all the magnitude of the forces. So let us do this. Total net force on the wooden box is the sum of the force of gravity. So net force or resultant force equals to sum of the force of gravity plus force of reaction plus force of push plus force of friction. Now adding all these forces, what we get is 0. Since 100 and minus 100 cancel each other and 10 and minus 10 cancel each other, net force on the box is 0. So the body remains at rest until the net force is 0. We can observe on this example that resultant force is 0. While in unbalanced force it is not. Resultant force is non-zero. In balanced force, the resultant force or net force is 0. Balanced force it is not. Let's understand this with an example. Let's take an example. The image is tug of war. It is about pulling the rope. Pushing and pulling the rope. So on right side, 3 people are applying the force, that is 5 Newton. And on left side, you can observe 2 people are applying the force, that is 3 Newton. Force 1 is 5 Newton and force 2 is 3 Newton. And we want to know the net force acting on an object. So for finding the net force, we will subtract the numbers. Here the forces are not equal and are in opposite direction. Subtract the number. 5 minus 3 equals to 2 Newton. So in this tug of war, the net force is 2 Newton. The resultant force is non-zero. It is not 0. We got the value. So in balanced force, we have observed that the net force is 0, while in unbalanced forces, the net force is not 0. It is non-zero. In balanced forces, the body will be at rest, while in unbalanced forces, the body is not at rest. I hope this video was understandable.